Today I'm looking at Dr. Trish Leigh, How to Quit Masturbation, right? Now, Dr. Trish Leigh, she's probably an amazing, amazing person. I haven't watched much of her content, but I know that from back in the day when I used to watch her, she purports this neuroscience narrative, which I know is absolutely toxic. But I think that she's an amazing, amazing person. I respect anyone who tries to help people quit, help guys quit PMO and who has the good intentions at heart. I really, really respect them. At the same time, I know that these ideas are toxic, so I'm at a bit of a crossroad with these types of videos where I'm not trying to insult the person. I believe they have great, great, great intentions, and I bet they're great people. But at the same time, I know for a fact that these ideas are toxic, and if you believe in them, it's going to make it extremely hard for you to quit PMO. And actually, the best way to quit PMO is to deprogram from all of these ideas. Okay, so great, great person, toxic, toxic advice. The two can coexist. And in fact, they do for lots and lots of people. So let's go.
Okay. Well, I disagree. And we're going to break that down in this here episode. So what we're going to talk about is masturbation. First of all, we're going to talk about, can it be addictive and how it's related to porn consumption?
Quick answer, no, it's not addictive at all. The only reason why it appears to be addictive is because you've built this massive narrative of value around it. The act itself isn't addictive, nothing's addictive. Cigarettes aren't addictive, cocaine's not addictive, heroin's not addictive. Controversial, I know, but read the Freedom Model, link in the description. That's where I've got everything from. So you don't have to trust this young guy. You can read the real experts below for free.
2, we're going to talk about the neuroscience behind masturbation. Then we're going to talk about how masturbation impacts your memory, your thinking, your anxiety, your mental health. Then we're going to transition into your physical health and talk about erectile dysfunction.
Okay, so all I claim to know is that MO isn't addictive and you can quit easily. So I'm going to address all of the facts that she gives about how it's hard to quit because of neuroscience. I'm going to address that part. The side effects of, memory and all of this stuff, I have no idea about. I know I feel better when I don't MO. You probably do too. That's all that matters as far as I'm concerned. But what I do know for a fact, factually, is that all of the neuroscience stuff about how it traps you in this is just bullshit.
Then we're going to move on. We're going to talk about the relationship to testosterone. We're going to talk about how masturbation impacts your sex life. And then finally, we are going to talk about how you can stop masturbating if I have inspired you to contemplate it by the end of this episode.
My sex life has gone better since I've stopped MOing, by the way. Like, the sex is a lot better. That's something I've experienced personally. It's probably going to be the same for you. My PIED is gone. I love not having PIED. Fucking hell.
So let's dig in. Masturbation, can it be addictive, and how is it related to pornography? And you know what? We're going to transition right into neuroscience when we talk about this. So absolutely, compulsive masturbation is a thing. And
okay, so it's straight away, it's not a thing. Here's the thing, right? It isn't a thing because compulsions do not exist. You cannot be compelled beyond your will to do anything. It's not possible. The reason why it feels compulsive is because you believe you're addicted. That creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. Second of all, you see so much value in MO and you don't see as much value in quitting. Now, you might see massive value in quitting. You might think, this is fucking up my life. This is giving me a PIED. I really hate this. I hate myself. Isn't that enough motivation to quit? Because I don't quit despite all these costs. I must be addicted. It must be compulsive. No, that isn't actually what's going on. What's going on is you see massive value on the front end and you see massive costs. And on top of that, you believe you're addicted. So it's a mess is what's happened. It does not exist, I'm telling you. Even though this lady's a professional neuroscientist, the people who I learned from are professionals in the addiction field and they've been on this shit for 30 years and they've cracked the code. So read the Freedom Model. I am just a person who has applied the Freedom Model to PMO and I'm sharing my experience with you. And a lot of you guys are finding it useful and you're quitting easily, which I'm really happy to see. And I know this because you're commenting and messaging me directly on Telegram, and I love to see comments like that, seriously.
If you've seen my YouTube channel, I take some heat when I talk about masturbation, but it's heat I'm willing to take because I have created a channel on YouTube where I tell the world what it needs to hear, not what it wants to hear. And I know
Again, really good intentions. I believe that this woman has great intentions, but unfortunately the advice is really, really bad, guys. It's what creates you trapped. It's why you're trapped. This kind of information is actually why you're trapped. Mind blowing, I know, but let's go.
Know that many men want to hear that masturbation is harmless, that it doesn't impact anybody. It's just a harmless way to de-stress and to, fill the boredom of the holes in your schedule. And it's a way for you to have a sex life without a partner. I've heard it all. But the reality is, in fact, it's coupled and associated with pornography consumption or the fantasy that results from thereof, and it is not good for your brain. Thus, it will.
Okay, here's one thing I want to say, right? She said that it's coupled with pornography use, as though the two are coupled in a kind of physics way, right? Now, this is going to sound a bit, crazy to you guys, but you reason to PMO and MO at the same time. You're the one in control doing that. It's not a physics thing, Like a car and a caravan behind it are tied together physically. You can't disconnect them. That's a real logical thing that's happening. With this, it's a choice to MO, PMO. No, sorry, it's a choice to watch porn, MO, or PMO altogether. Like, you can mix and match how you want. The two aren't necessarily coupled. It's your choice whether what you do. Plenty of people just watch porn, or some people just masturbate, and a lot of people PMO. So the two aren't necessarily coupled. And the way that a lot of these neuroscientists talk, it's as though they're boiling a human being down to some kind of like Play-Doh that can be molded as though it's some kind of system that you can just pick and modify at, when really we have free will and we have, we can think for ourselves. So the same rules don't apply.
Impact your mental and emotional health. It will impact your physical health, and it's going to show up in your world. So, in fact, masturbation can be addictive, and we know that there is...
100%. It isn't. It cannot be. It's not possible. Read the Freedom Model if you don't believe me. Take it from the horse's mouth.
Is compulsive masturbation. So when other professionals are talking about masturbation being fine for you or even good for you, they are not talking about people who struggle with compulsive masturbation, which is the majority of people who masturbate. And honestly, I just reached out to a professional.
Guys, the majority of people who masturbate do not do it compulsively. Do you know why? Because 100% of people who masturbate don't do it compulsively. It might feel very real, and believe me, I was there, and it's painful, and it feels so real. It feels like you've been trapped, like it's hopeless. I've been there, guys. Seriously, I've been there. It was hell on earth. I know exactly what you're going through, and yet I'm out the other side. I'm telling you, it's not compulsive.
And no, it's not one that I've talked to on my podcast yet. And no, it's not a professional who should even be talking about masturbation, but I'm sure this person is looking for clicks. And if you're listening, you can search your heart, because I'm sure you're looking for clicks, by telling the world that, masturbation's harmless. Everybody masturbates. There's no shame surrounding masturbation, even though the professional whispered the word masturbation, which assumes there is shame associated with it. So, I won't tell you what you want to hear, which other people are telling you.
I think the shame is due to your opinion. Like, I personally do feel shame when I do it, so I don't do it. And I felt shame throughout my 6 years of just compulsive use, right? I had a slip of the tongue there. I said compulsive, and the thing is, it was compulsive because I believed it was. So it wasn't actually compulsive, but it felt that way. It felt that way. Now that I've deprogrammed, I know that back then it wasn't even compulsive. It's not compulsive now because I'm not doing it. But the point is that I did feel shame, and I think shame is just a product of how you view it. For me personally, I feel shame when I do it, so I don't do it. You probably feel shame about it too, so you try not to do it, which is why you're here. And great, you found a gold mine here, guys. Small channel, but you found a gold mine.
It's fine, and it doesn't impact you or your relationship, because that's BS. So yes, in fact, it can be addictive. You can get in a loop where you need it to feel okay about your life. It becomes your...
No, 100%, that is not possible. It might feel that way, but that is not a thing.
Number one.
That's a mental thing that you've constructed out of loads of different beliefs, not anything going on in your brain physically. Trust me. And in fact, don't trust me. Read the freedom model below.
On self-soothing tool. That's the why behind masturbation. It has nothing to do with sex for most people. And you might not be aware of that, but if you peel the layers back, you might find out that that in fact is true, and I'm spitting straight facts there. But the neuroscience behind masturbation, especially if you have been consuming pornography, the neuroscience behind it is this. When you were young, you found pornography in masturbation, and you likely found it in a world that's difficult to exist in, right? The human existence, it is a challenging one, in fact. So you found porn and masturbation, and it made your brain feel good. You felt that rush in your brain. It took you away from the worries of the day or your life.
No, that isn't what happens. That isn't what happens. Okay, so, MO feels good physically, right? Physical buzz. It's there objectively. If you drink green tea, it's going to feel hot. This is going to be hot. Ready? Warm. But guess what? I feel a lot of psychological benefit, a lot of placebo from drinking this green tea. I believe this is good for me. So when I drink it, I feel health. I feel healthy. I also feel quite sophisticated because it's quite a kind of green tea. It's quite a, I like it because of those placebo feelings that I get. With MO, the only thing that's going on here, legitimately, is the physical buzz. That's it. Everything else is mental. The relaxation you feel is mental. You don't need the buzz for it. The soothing you feel, you don't need the buzz for it. All of that stuff that she's talking about, these like other effects, they're all mental, and you can feel it without the buzz. All the MO is the buzz. If you, I'm not denying it. When you MO, you do feel soothing, you do feel relaxation probably, but that's you doing it. Just as the same with the green tea, it's me I'm the one who's feeling the health from this. This could even be unhealthy, but I still feel health when I drink it because I believe it's healthy. If you get to a point, right, you read the Freedom Model chapter 17 and 18, you will realize MO does not provide a single ounce of relaxation. It cannot do that. It's just a physical sensation. You're the one who relaxes when you MO. Does anyone ever MO not relaxed? No, you always take some time out of your day. You chill out for a bit. You mentally block out a bit of time. That's the relaxing part. You could have blocked out some time to do anything. Nothing to do with the MO. MO is just the physical buzz.
It made you feel good for a time. You were watching pornography, which was highly exhilarating. You were masturbating, and
people find PMO highly exhilarating. The porn video actually does nothing. It's actually just a video. It's not a drug. It's not going in you. There's nothing objectively happening there. It's all subjective, and because it's subjective, you can reason and you can redecide, which is why this whole thing isn't an addiction. You get it? Is that sort of resonating? I felt like that might resonate because.
And it gave you physical stimulation that you had never felt before.
Physical stimulation, exactly. That's factual. You can't. That's a true. It's a real effect. The rest is all mind imagined placebo effects.
Because most people experience this when they're 10, 11, even younger. So this is this new mental and physical stimulation that is awesome, and it is literally rescuing you from your life. Now, this is the way that...
No, it's not. It's not. The first part was banging. I love that first bit where she talked about how, you're 10 years old. It's a new sensation. It's a new physical sensation. Hell yeah, it is. And it feels good. Hell yeah. But also, it's not taking you away from the world, guys. It might feel that way, but that isn't it doing it to you. That's you doing it to you, then giving it the credit. Don't take my word for it. Read the Freedom Model, chapter 17 and 18. But I'm just going to stress that again. Let me stress it again, right? MO is the physical buzz. You've been MOing and relax. Here's what's happened, right? You relax. You MO. You feel relaxed. You do that loads and loads, and over time you start to think to yourself, MO actually relaxes me. You flip the script in you're letting the tail wag the dog, okay? You're letting the cart drive the horse. Do you understand? You're saying MO relaxes you. No, you relax and then you MO. Does that make sense? That's what's happening. And when you come to this realization, you realize, hang on a minute, if I'm the one relaxed, why the hell do I need MO for? let me just chill the hell out and not MO. Maybe I'll be happier with my life. And then you start to realize the benefits of not MOing, and then you're like, MO is just the physical. It's just the physical buzz. That's what it just is. Literally, the rest is just placebos. So why don't I have placebos about shit that's actually meaningful in my life?
That your brain works. Your brain.
You can feel fucking relaxed without MO. Why? Because MO doesn't even do it. It's you doing it. So just do it without the buzz. When people go out for a cigarette, yeah? They take time off work, for goodness sake. They go outside, they breathe fresh air. It's not the nicotine that's relaxing them. It's the whole ritual of it. They could do the whole ritual of it, minus the cigarette.
Will keep going in the direction of the reward. And we know when dopamine floods into your system, it's a dopamine deluge, and it's a highly rewarding neurotransmitter. It's the
boo. Not boo to Trish Leigh. Lovely Trish Leigh. She's amazing. The advice, I'm just separate the advice from the lady. The advice is god awful.
Pleasure-seeking neurotransmitter, so it gives you pleasure. And when
basically, okay, here's the deal, right? When you buy into this is the reason why I say it's toxic is because when you buy into this, right, you quite literally believe, genuinely believe, right? You literally believe that MO is objectively pleasurable. So it's going to be like, it's just your ticket out of this world. That dopamine flood. You begin to think that relaxation is the dopamine flood. Do you see how it gets all messy here? What's literally happening, it's simpler than all of this. You're just letting yourself relax, and then you're blaming MO, the physical buzz. That's all that's happened. She's saying that some complex neuroscience shit is going on, and that it's this fixed thing that's addictive and that you can't get away from it. And then when you buy into that, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. It becomes a reality for you. And then you get trapped, and then you don't know what to do. And then you've been doing this for the last 5, 6, 7 years. And then you come to this channel, and now you're discovering how you've been misled. And I get guys on my Telegram who are messaging me so angry that they've been misled for so long. I was furious at the start. Now I've calmed down a bit because I've realised that, maybe this was this was meant to be. I'm meant to spread the word, or whatever. So for me, it's not as bad. And I still feel angry, don't get me wrong, but a lot of guys message me, and man, they feel so pissed off that they've been misled. Let's go.
It's coupled to porn and masturbation. Basically what you're
it's not coupled. You are the one who's choosing to do it at the same time because you see massive benefit.
Training your brain to realize is that the way that I can deal.
The brain isn't how we live our lives. We live our lives in the mind. The brain, as a concept, is this external thing that we believe exists. That belief is what drives us. Do you understand? The brain isn't actually... the brain is driving us, but we are in control of our mind, and that's all that matters. Fuck the brain. You don't need to think about the brain at all.
Deal with difficulties in my life is by masturbating to porn or to fantasy to take me away from that and give...
You take yourself away from it. The MO and PMO does actually fuck all. You can look at it as a distraction, or you can look at anything as a distraction. Like, if you need to distract, for goodness sake, do something that's actually productive as your distraction. Sit down and just chill. You don't need the PMO and MO for it. But while you believe you need the PMO and MO for it, you're not really going to be able to relax, are you? Because you're missing out on what you believe to be is your real relaxation. MO is just a physical buzz. Porn is just a video. That's the truth. When you realise that, you realise, hang on, I can relax way better without it, because I can relax however the hell I want, because I'm the one who's doing the beliefs with all of this. I'm the one doing everything, so I can do whatever the hell I want. I can look at it, it's just a physical buzz. Porn is a video. And there's a hell of a lot of benefits to not doing it, and I can relax better without it,
Give me this amazing feeling, not only in my brain, but also in my body.
In the body, yes, not in the brain, no. Not in how she's saying all this relaxation shit, no.
And it is a neurochemical cascade that makes you feel that way, and it's primarily dopamine.
It's not. That isn't why you feel that. You feel that way because you're chilling out. And here's the thing is, I have proof of this, because you can feel the exact same relaxation. Like, I uploaded a video where it was like, when you decide to, here's the thing, right? Here's the test. When you decide to PMO, you feel relaxed at the decision. Why? Because you mentally know that I'm going to give myself 30 minutes, 45 minutes, however long your PMO session is, just to chill the hell out. You could do the same thing by going for a walk. I would go for a walk and I'd feel more relaxed than I would when I'm PMOing. Why? Because it's the same thing. It's the same mental decision just to let go for a bit. And guess what? With the walk, it's actually more relaxing for me because I'm not stressing out, because PMO is just quite a stressful experience at the same time as being relaxing.
When you get the dopamine deluge, what it teaches you is that there's a a dopamine deficit in your world.
No, this is a bunch of hogwash. Like, this isn't true. This is all hogwash, guys.
So ultimately, you keep going back to porn and masturbation to feel good, but you don't even realize it's making your life worse. Your brain thinks there's no dopamine in the world, that there's...
Why is it always your brain, your brain, your brain? Like, when we've learned about the brain, now our lives are getting fucked up. Before, no one knew about the brain. No one had, like, addiction. Like, 200 years ago, no one had addiction. Literally, like, addiction doesn't even exist. It didn't exist. The whole of the opium stuff was hardly any addiction. Whole of the alcohol use, there was hardly any addiction. People just drank it and was like, oh yeah, that's a cool effect, and that's it. Don't you think the cavemen would have been addicted to masturbating? Don't you think that would have been a problem in the caveman days, and there would be cave paintings of it happening? No, they didn't do it because they didn't want to, because they didn't see it how we do. They just didn't bother. They had better shit to do.
Only stress because of cortisol, and your work doesn't do it for you, your friendships don't do
Guys, this is so toxic. If you believe this, holy shit, you're so fucked. You're so fucked if you believe this.
it for you, your hobbies don't do it for you, and you find yourself back into the screen and masturbation. So over time, what happens is you develop a masturbation habit and you convince yourself it's harmless, it's no big deal, it's your way to de-stress. But
habit, by the way, isn't addiction. Habit is just like harmless. So like, habit just makes things a bit more automatic for you. You can quit a habit really easily. Like, if like a habit of me brushing my teeth, I have a habit of brushing my teeth every night and every morning, right? But let's say one night let's say tonight I genuinely was like, I don't want to brush my teeth tonight. I could easily not. I wouldn't have urges to brush my teeth. I literally, if I had a reason to not brush my teeth, like let's say someone was like, okay, Jay, I'll give you 500 quid if you don't brush your teeth tonight. Oh fuck it, I won't brush my teeth tonight then. 500 quid's worth it. Easy.
in fact, it is keeping you coming back for more because of the dopamine deluge. You've linked your brain neurologically to yourself.
Guys, this is so fucked up. I don't even have words anymore. This is just completely fucked.
Physically. So if you're linked to your brain, and we know when you have sex with a partner, you link your brain to that partner neurologically. That's the beauty of it. So if you
what is this, like Avatar, like where they literally you link your brain? And my brain's staying within my skull, thank you very much, but I do understand what she's saying, and I really dislike the whole brain-centric view. Like, it's not relevant to our life. We need to know how the mind works, because the mind is everything to us. Our brain is just this like hardware thing in the back. It doesn't, like, your brain is not going to factor into your life decisions, is it? You don't think, what does my brain want today? Oh, my brain wants coffee. No, you think I want fucking coffee. You think, you know what I mean? Like, what does my brain need? My brain needs fish and chips. No, you want fish and chips, not your brain.
have a partner and you have healthy sexuality, there's dopamine for pleasure, serotonin for happiness, and oxytocin.
Oh, bro, why are you going to the shop? I just want to get a chocolate bar. All right, sweet. Why do you want the chocolate bar? He's like, just my brain needs the dopamine. What the fuck is that? That's fucking nonsense.
For connection or linking.
Oh, I just need a dopamine hit. One sec, guys. Just need a quick dopamine squirt. Dopamine. This is just this fantasy. It's just science fiction. Like, okay, it actually happens, but that's not why we do. Do you see my point? That isn't why we do shit. The reasons why we do shit isn't because of we're actively thinking our brain. We're thinking us. We're thinking signals. We're thinking mind. We're thinking feelings, in reasons in our mind. We're not thinking about neurochemicals. A human being isn't born like, okay, make sure you have loads of dopamine today. Fucking hell. It doesn't even factor into our decision making at all. We just do what we want, and we have reasons for that.
And so when you find a partner and you get those brain juices flowing when you're with that partner, you've linked yourself to that partner, which makes you want to go back to that partner for more and more, not only physical intimacy, but intimacy. So that
It's not true. Like, you know, what if I'm with a lady and I don't like her that much? What if I decide I don't really want to see her again? What if I don't really like her company? What if I'm busy and I would just rather do something else? Am I going to have to fight the urge to go back to her? No. Typically men do want to sleep with women all the time. But that's a trend. It's not causal. It's like a lot of people support fucking Manchester United. Does that mean that Manchester United is causing people to follow it? No. A lot of people follow Manchester United because they're a good team. They're like a classic English team. Not many people support fucking Scunthorpe United. Why? Because they're in the middle of nowhere. It's an ugly name. It's not a very good team, etc. It's choice.
that you have love and happiness, connection and pleasure. But if you keep masturbating, you're literally neurologically linking your brain sexually to yourself.
You don't need to know any of this. As if, like, look, you'll think, when you take on, here's the problem, right? You listen to this lady, you take on this belief, right? And again, Dr. Trish Leigh, amazing woman, fantastic. She's doing her best, she's great. My point is, if you take on this belief, that belief is now going to factor into your decision making, even though it has absolutely no bearing on your decision making. It's like right, there's brain shit going on in your head, but why does that need to factor into your real world decision making in your mind? It doesn't even need to factor in. It's literally irrelevant, right? As I said, let me just go to the shop. I need to remember to go to the shop to get my vitamin water so I can get the dopamine, because my dopamine will be low at that time. What the fuck? And it's insanity. Live your life.
And that is a self-defeating loop because it keeps you caught in it. So
no, it doesn't keep you caught in it. You keep you caught in it because you believe this, and then because you believe this, that's a great reason to use. That's what's happening here. This is a ideological problem, not a genuine problem in the real world. This is a problem of the imagined. The more you get educated on this, the worse it gets. Don't listen to any of this stuff, guys. Read the Freedom Model. Way better. The Freedom Model is very mind-centric. This is why I love it. The Freedom Model is mind-centric. It talks about mind. It talks about reasons. It talks about feelings. It doesn't talk about neurochemistry, because neurochemistry is absolutely irrelevant to your day-to-day basis. Completely irrelevant. Doesn't factor into your mental decision-making at all. No one ever thinks of it. People that do think of it tend to be the ones that tend to be victimized by it, because they self-victimize because they bought into this cult.
You might know that this is true if you prefer masturbation over having sex. And you might want to have sex, but it feels better to masturbate, or it feels better to masturbate to porn. You're stuck in that loop. So
You've built a preference. You can unbuild that. You can re-reason. You can think differently, and you can learn to get out there and you can get laid. And it's really nice. And you might learn to prefer it. You probably will. It's a lot better than PMO, guys. Like, I couldn't get laid when I was 19, 20, but I can now, and it's a lot better. But maybe I'll make a separate video about that. But about how I transformed.
the neuroscience behind it is you're getting this flood of dopamine and your brain's feeling good. And oh, sorry, I'm dropping things here. Your brain is feeling good, and
You're feeling good, right? You're feeling good. Sure, there's some neuroscience stuff going on in the background, but why do we need to talk about it? As if it's the thing that we're not experiencing our brain, we're experiencing our mind. We experience colours, sensations, smells, sights. I did physics and philosophy at uni, right? So physics is the physical world. Philosophy focuses a lot on the metaphysical world. There is a mind and there is a body. It's a different thing, right? When you look at the colour red, you're seeing the red colour. You cannot find the red colour in the brain. You can find how the brain responds to the stimulus of red photons, but there's no such thing as red photons. There's photons which correspond to the colour red due to their wavelength, but there is no such thing as a red photon. Just as there is no such thing as a taste in the brain or a sensation of touch in the brain. Think about touch, right? Look, this is weird. Okay, me rubbing my hand is weird, but like me, like if you like touch your hand, yeah, touch your hand, that feeling is mad weird. What is that? Like you, in the brain, all you see is electrical signals firing off. You don't see that this sensation only you can experience. How wild is that? This is why we don't need to talk about the brain. We just need to talk about what's in our first person POV. Am I making sense here? I think I am.
You continue to want to come back for more and more and more. Okay, so let's talk about how that impacts your memory. So let's move on to porn, masturbation, and memory loss. So when...
I'm not really going to comment here because I don't know, frankly, and I'm not in a position, I'm not qualified to know, I don't have expertise to know. I don't know, so let's just see what she has to say. Maybe we'll skip through it.
You masturbate, you are flooding your brain with dopamine. So what that does is it floods your frontal lobe, which is in charge of working memory, concentration, focus, socialization, judgment, impulse control. It's in charge of all of that. And you're flooding the reward center. So what happens is when you're flooded out with dopamine, your brain can't think and it can't remember as well. So the more consistently and frequently you masturbate, you're knocking out the frontal lobe. And it becomes this vicious cycle that is impacted by neurochemical release. So depending upon where you are in the cycle, you'll have the worst.
It's not a cycle of neurochemistry, it's a cycle of ideas that you're stuck in. You've got a mental construct here. Just like how a person they feel like they can't leave a cult because if I leave the cult, my parents are going to die. That's a trap of the mind, right? They have all these beliefs. They're like, okay, I can't leave the cult because the cult said they'll kill my parents if I leave, and I can't stay in the cult because if I stay in the cult, it's just going to get worse and worse, and the cult have been mistreating me, they've been abusing me, so I'm stuck. But then, do you see how these are ideas that they believe in? That this is a trapping of their own belief system. This isn't a real trap, and PMO trap is the exact same. It's a trap of the mind, not of the brain. And the reason why I know that for absolute fact is because when you deconstruct all of these mind ideas, the whole problem disappears. Poof, cloud of smoke. So it can't be the brain, can it?
Brain fog. And then when you move through the cycle, it might get a little better and then it'll get worse again. And so it becomes this vicious cycle. But I want you to know, every time you flood your brain out, you're making it so that your memory will actually be negatively impacted.
Maybe that's true. Who the hell knows? I don't know.
From that dopamine flood. Now, obviously, it's more involved than that. One other...
I wouldn't take her advice personally, given that she's been wrong this whole time. Again, amazing person. The memory thing, I don't know. Who the hell knows? I don't know. I'm gonna fence it. I'm gonna remain agnostic on that
aspect part. Is that we know this again from the science is that the more you consume porn and masturbate, you're increasing slowing in the frontal lobe. So you're slowing your brain down. It's like you're putting the brakes on your frontal lobe. And that's another reason why memory and thinking becomes impaired and you might experience brain fog and, thinking and is not going to be as good or work.
The brain fog I agree with. I definitely feel clearer now. Stopped PMOing a lot. I think that might be due to prolactin release when you orgasm. I'm not sure. That's interesting. I will very much fence it on this part. Though what I really wanted to tackle in this video was the whole addiction part and the neurochemistry bullying you and all that rubbish.
Workout as well.
This stuff about the side effects of PMO. Yeah, I mean there are side effects to it. There are costs to it, of course, but it's very subjective, and I can't really put my finger on what is the truth and what isn't, and because I simply don't know. The reason why I know with the addiction stuff and the dopamine stuff is because when you deconstruct the ideas, addiction goes. So I know for a fact from personal experience, and other people are telling me it as well, this is what I'm saying about the ideas. That's true. Freedom model is true.
Well for you. Okay, let's move on because we're trying to move through lots of things here in this here episode. Let's move to erectile dysfunction. So hopefully you kind of get the gist.
I had this really bad in uni. There was 4 different girls and I couldn't... It's really embarrassing. Anyway.
You've got all this going on. You think it's about physical stimulation, but where do you think the physical stimulation comes from? Your brain. You're feeling it in your brain, and it's delivering the signals to your body. So
I don't know why PIED happens. All I know is I experienced it, and then when I stopped, my dick was like, That's all I know. That's all I'll say. I don't know anything about anything else here.
So now when the signals are delivered, it's delivering the signals to your mind and your body. So that's why this slowing can impact your thinking in your mind, your cognitive behaviors, but then it also can impact erectile dysfunction and delayed ejaculation. So it works like this. If you're desensitizing the reward center in the middle of your brain, you're knocking out the receptors, the reward receptors that basically can perceive arousal and perceive levels of arousal. So, porn's a supernormal stimulus. When you're watching sexual acts and behaviors that don't actually exist in the real world, especially in the way that it's portrayed, with partners that don't exist in the real world, it is a supernormal stimulus. It gives your
It's not. That isn't true.
brain tons of mental arousal, which
No. That's you. Like, sex is a better stimulus than porn. It depends who you are. It depends how you perceive it. It completely depends on perception. It's not about chemistry. It's not. This isn't about neurochemistry either. It's about how you perceive it. For some people, the PMO is going to be, they're going to think it's really exciting. For some people, like for me now, I'll look at it and I'll be like, it's kind of gay. Like, I don't want it. You know, I feel like more of a G without it. So I'm not going to do it. And I don't want to do it. Like, I think it's actually like, I really dislike the industry and how they like exploit women and stuff. So I don't like it.
means
Like when I see a porn girl now, like I'm like, poor lady, you know, like poor girl. I wonder what's like led her to this position. This is not good. We as a species should not be doing this to women.
you get large amounts of dopamine. At the same time, masturbation is extreme amounts of physical stimulation. I work with some people who their grip is so tight they have handprints on their penis. The amount of physical
Handprints, fuck me. I used to do this death grip. I'm completely aware of it. And PIED's brutal, man. It was seriously brutal. But you know, the reason why I'm laughing about it a little bit here is because I'm out of it, and I know you can get out of it too. So this soon is all going to be in the past for you. If you read the Freedom Model, you fully understand it. You know, this is kind of done now. You've stumbled across the gold mine of how to quit PMO, as far as I'm concerned.
stimulation that some people apply is extreme. And so it's anywhere from extreme to still more than what would happen if you were having sex with a partner. So
I think there's logic to this because it definitely damages your dick, and it definitely there could, just on intuition, I think this could be. I'm completely fence sitting here. I don't know. The stuff that I know expertise about, I'll say I really know about it to be true, but this I don't know. It feels right though, doesn't it? It sounds true.
that physical stimulation makes it so that your brain needs that level of
Don't know about brain.
mental and physical stimulation to be aroused. So now
Ooh,
it's time.
you know how she uses the word mental stimulation as though she's aware of the word mind, because mental and mind is this, you know, it's the same concept. But she doesn't really talk about the mind. Talks a lot about the brain. Very brain centric, right? This is the problem a lot of the time. Very brain centric.
Time to have sex with your honey, and when you're with a partner, you don't have that physical stimulation. You don't have that tight grip. And at the same time, you don't have the mental stimulation. So now you can't get where you need to get being with your partner. And we also know from the science that if you're consuming porn, that your attraction level to your partner literally goes down. So you're just less aroused by your partner, even if she was amazing, because she's not doing the funky things that you're watching on the screen. She can never live up to this supernormal stimulus.
Okay, I agree with that. Apart from the word supernormal stimulus, which I absolutely hate, I agree. You know, when you PMO loads, that's what you get used to. That's what you actually learn to prefer. Real things don't even hit the same. But I think there's this narrative of that, like, real things are somehow worse than the PMO, that the PMO is better than the real thing, and so you have to get rid of the PMO in order to make the real thing seem better. I think it's ludicrous. The real thing's actually better. Of course it is. You're not on a screen. It's real life, bruv. It's better, you know? I think the idea that it's a supernormal stimulus and that it's better than the real thing, how the hell does that work? Come on, the real thing's better. Of course it is. Of course it is. The real thing, especially when she's beautiful and she's nice to you. It's amazing.
Thus, even if you have the best partner in the world, it's still not to the same level as the screen. And if you're not masturbating and you're having your healthy levels of sex, you're not getting the physical stimulation. Leads to erectile dysfunction. You can't get an erection, which means then you can't have a sexual experience, which means now you have performance anxiety. We know performance anxiety is going through the roof for young people, and they are not associating it with porn and masturbation. But the performance anxiety is coming from the fact that they may not be able to get an erection. Plus, they're worried about sex as a performance because they watch it as a performance, not experience it as an experience. At the same time, they might not be as aroused by their partner, and they don't have the same mental and physical stimulation. So let's
bang on. I thoroughly agree with that. I definitely agree with that. Yeah, what she said, that was banging. I had performance anxiety too. It was awful. It was wrapped up with this PIED as well. Those PID, performance anxiety. Ugh, what a mess. Now, thankfully, I don't have that. It's like now I'm like a fucking. I don't know. Just I don't know. It's just better. It's just normal. Like it's it's like rock hard.
Jump to how it impacts your sex life, and then we'll go back to testosterone. So we know that the way that it impacts your sex life is now you might have delayed ejaculation because it takes you forever to get anywhere near the arousal. And this is how...
So true, and it's so unfortunate, but I'm happy I'm out of it.
You know you might have a problem. You're with your partner, but you have to go to fantasy to get the mental stimulation going. You have to...
Isn't that crazy? That's very crazy. I'd like to look into that further. I have no idea. I bet there's a load of theories as to why that's the case, but I never had to go to the fantasy in order to do that. I just sort of epic failed and I didn't even bother fantasizing. But
recall some porn scenes that you've seen. You have to run a highlight reel. You have to think about your favorite porn performer. Many people have said to me before, so I should be thinking about my wife when we have sex? Yes, obviously. If you're not, that's a problem. At the same time, if you're having sexual intercourse with your partner and you're feeling a really strong urge to masturbate or do some other activity that gives you more physical stimulation, it's because your brain needs it. It's no longer getting...
It's because it's not a brain, is it? Come on. Maybe with all the side effect stuff, it could be your brain, but... who knows why? She's making it sound like it's your brain. She doesn't know that for sure. I'm certain. Like, how do you know that your brain needs it? What if it's a mental thing? You have no evidence that it's not a mental thing.
The level of stimulation from your partner that it would. So let's just say if masturbation and porn were out of the equation and now you're with your partner, it would feel amazing. And that's why when you give up porn and masturbation, your sex life goes from 0 to hero. It goes through the roof once your brain has unwired the porn and masturbation.
True, apart from the brain unwiring, again, yeah, I agree.
Masturbation pattern, rewired into healthy sexuality and
not rewired.
Mood regulation, sex becomes better than ever, as it should be, because that's what's healthy. So it impacts your sex life in that way. Now let me tell you something else. Your partner knows things are getting funky in the bedroom. So even if she doesn't know that you watch pornography, if she doesn't know that you masturbate daily, she knows something's up. She knows that you're not enjoying it that much. It's getting weird and she's not enjoying it that much. Things are going wrong. So I encourage you to know that. Don't blame your partner. I have so many people that I work with and they're like, yeah, if my wife wanted to have more sex with me, I wouldn't have to watch porn. That's not true because you started watching porn and
that's really like fucked up.
Masturbating long before you met your partner, and then you've continued it, and then your relationship's gotten funky, so it's dynamical. The dynamics need to shift, and porn needs to...
Yeah, maybe if they stopped watching porn, then they would have their wife would want to bang them more because they'd be more like virile and more of a kind of...
come out of the equation, because when porn's in the equation, we know that divorce and breakups are more than doubled, and the desire to cheat.
That's crazy, and I don't doubt that. That's
or
crazy.
infidelity is 300% increase, which is a terrifying statistic.
That is terrifying. I'd like to fact check that, but that is, if true, that is pretty terrifying.
Okay, so let us move on to testosterone, because I've read a few studies in terms of testosterone. What we know is that abstinence from masturbation from orgasm, but some of these studies looked at masturbation, from abstinence from orgasm can increase testosterone. One of the studies shows that it increased 146%, which is awesome, obviously, on day 7. And so on the 7th day, there was a spike in serum testosterone. We also know that there's another study that was a 3-week abstinence period, and testosterone levels increased over that amount of time. So another thing we know is that orgasm creates more testosterone. So there's enough science supporting abstinence as a way to improve the way that your body makes and utilizes testosterone. And I know many men are worried about their testosterone levels, and I know a lot of the dudes that I interact with are on testosterone supplements. And I'm like, dudes, if you just stop watching porn and masturbating, your testosterone levels would even out. You wouldn't need those supplements. You're doing it to yourself.
Yeah, I don't know how much of this is true. I'm not going to make a comment. I don't really know about this.
Draining.
It's not like, yeah, I don't know.
Yourself. You're making your brain's electrical energy go back and forth, pendulum effect. You're making those neurotransmitter cascades go wonky. When the system stabilizes, you're sleeping.
Please don't believe any of the addiction stuff about neuroscience, and instead read the Freedom Model, for goodness sake.
Improves, your workouts improve, your muscle growth improves. Things get better when the system is stable. When you keep watching porn and masturbating, you're destabilizing the system, and then the nervous system, then the body, the mind, and the brain are not able to handle things well. Okay, so we also know that when you are stuck in this loop of masturbation, especially when it's associated with porn,
hurry up, Trish. We only got 2 more minutes. Let's go, guys. Let's bash this out.
It can be so difficult to get out. How do you stop masturbating? Let me tell you how. Number 1, you have to stop watching porn. I know it's challenging, but you are frying your brain. You're damaging your brain, and it is the thing that's keeping the masturbation alive.
No, it's not. No, it absolutely is not. Like, you could in theory watch porn as much as you wanted without masturbating. I guarantee you. Like, it's just if you wanted to do that, you would do that, but you don't want to do that. Like, I absolutely do not believe that porn causes masturbation. It doesn't do that. You just don't want to. Who the hell wants to watch porn without jerking off?
I challenge people to masturbate without fantasy on a schedule, so you're not using it to de-stress or to fill the boredom. And
you can't feel the boredom or relieve stress. It's just the physical buzz is all that masturbation is. Physical buzz, guys.
And then stay with the sensation.
The rest of the effects that you experience when you MO is all your fucking mind doing it. You're doing it. Just cut out the physical buzz and experience that without it, if that's what you want.
In your body. And so many guys will like burst out laughing and be like, what's the point? And I'll be like, exactly. That's exactly it. There is no point. If you're just doing it on a schedule, with no fantasy, especially no porn, and if you're just staying in your body. But that is, a quote unquote healthy masturbation habit.
It's fucking stupid advice, because it doesn't even address why you want it. It doesn't, you're forcing yourself to do it on the schedule, but you don't want to do that. You want to change your want. You can't just force yourself to do something you don't want to do. It's like torture. You can want differently. That's the whole point of the freedom model. It's the whole reason why I made this shit. Is you don't have to fight urges. You can just want. You don't have urges. You just want to do. You're in this. You want your preference. You can change your preference, because a lot of it, the value you see in MO is not there. Not there. You're not addicted, and you can just change.
If you are in a culture or a religion where you're not able to have healthy sexuality with a partner at this point in your life. So how to quit it is to stay out of the screen and make a pivot plan. What you're going to do.
Pivot plan's fucking retarded. Really, really stupid advice. That's not going to work, because you're not changing your preference. Like, you might organically, just by luck, by doing this, but it's much better if you consciously do it and make it conscious, like thinking, What the hell do I actually want?
Instead of masturbating, to decrease your stress levels and to not be bored. Especially if you're using masturbation as a sleep tool, find a way to wind down at the night. If you find that you're masturbating in the morning, you're likely trying to get a dopamine hit.
No, you're not. Oh yeah, let me get up in the morning, gotta get my dopamine, gotta get my serotonin, gotta get my oxytocin, and I gotta get my endorphins. It's like my 5 a day. What the fuck? No, you don't.
To help you get through the day. So build in more breaks in the day.
This is just the most science fiction like insanity I've ever seen.
Build in more mood regulation activities, favorite hobbies that you love to do, and you won't need to masturbate anymore. Okay, I hope that helps you out.
Really, really, really shitty advice at the end. You don't need to have hobbies and anything. You just need to change your mind internally and decide what you want. There's no addiction here. There's nothing you have to battle. Read the Freedom Model. It's way better. That's it. Okay. Like the vid. Spread this shit because this is the truth, and we need other people to get on board and help free themselves and help lower the amount of pain in this fucking world. There's enough pain in it already. Let's help people remove this pain. Send it to a nofap buddy that you've got. If you've got a nofap buddy who would benefit from watching this, go for it. Send it to them. And yeah, that's it, guys. Subscribe.